Hey folks, just another update. I think it's I think it's a week now. I think it is. I think it was Saturday was 4 days, Sunday 5, Monday 6. Today's day 7. Got through another week. But I had a really tough time emotionally speaking, and hoping I can get this out before the battery dies. But I've basically been dealing with trying to stop myself from white knighting, and ended up getting into something of an argument with my girlfriend over some things I said because I was feeling really sad today, and a lot of it had to do once again, with seeing that girl, and I've come to realize I don't really see her in any really romantic sense. Like I would never pursue a relationship with her, given things from the past and things I found out about her and my perspective at this point. But it still cuts in my core in many ways because I have this internalized Captain Save a Ho slash White Knight mentality, and it's something that has to stop, because fundamentally it's something that leads me down these paths in life wherein I end up making all sorts of decisions where I sacrifice what will be better for myself, um, and let's say by extension the girlfriend, the fiance, if I was married, the wife. I end up sacrificing that kind of stuff because I feel like I have to serve some higher cause, some higher purpose. I have to be the guy who swoops in and proves to girl X, Y, or Z, oh, not all men are like that. Look at me, I'm a good guy. Look at me, I'm a good guy. And we do exist, and I can prove all these things. All these things that you have as perceptions wrong. They're your past experiences. You went through these traumas, but hey, you know what? That stuff was from that guy, and I'm different or whatever. And even if I never end up in a relationship with the girl in question, whoever she happened to be, in this case, it's just one girl named Ikram. Um, but I've had that whole sort of conflict there because of that kind of thinking, because of that desire to do that. And with this girl in particular, I said, last semester she would wear the headscarf. She was still kind of holding on in a sense, a little bit there, a little scrap of the religion or religiosity there. And now it's just poof, completely gone. Several months later, just completely gone. And it's difficult because even as I have this girlfriend right now, and given that we've had this argument, and of course the way I put things, it probably did come off as if I have feelings for this other girl, as if I'm going to try to pursue things or what have you. Assuming that relationship lasts, it's well, I've got this girlfriend who's been with me for 3.5 years, or 3 years, excuse me, almost 3.5, 3 years and 3 months, a little over that, and she stuck by my side. She stayed with me all this time, and is there that sort of conflict between choosing the girl who doesn't need to be saved and who wants you for whatever other reasons? Maybe she thinks you're a genuinely good person, or she finds you attractive somehow in some other ways, um, but not as her savior, not as the 10 to 15 year meal ticket, not that kind of sense, but as the man who would make her happy by being there for her and loving her, and vice versa. You gotta choose between that girl or the girl who you think needs to be saved. Maybe she does need to be saved, quote unquote, but um, ultimately it's like you had to let them crash and burn. The ones who you think need to be saved, that you're gonna save, because they're not gonna be saved by anyone except by themselves. except by themselves. Just as in my life, for instance, like if I graduate from college, if I become an engineer, if I end up making six figures, if I end up getting married, having kids, all that kind of stuff, it's not gonna be because somebody else did it for me. I'm gonna have to do it myself. Or with Nofap, breaking this PMO addiction once and for all, breaking the internet addiction once and for all. That's not gonna happen because somebody else swooped in and saved me and led me down the path and that sort of deal. If it happens, it'll happen because I actually adulted the heck up and took charge of my life and did what was necessary. Even as hard as it may have been, even with all the sacrifices that we'll have had to have made. It's like that. And fundamentally, if I'm going to treat women in general as equals to me, that means I'm going to have to be letting them face the consequences of their actions and not try to swoop in there, especially since, and I don't know why it's taken me like 30 years to learn this, because I've had these kind of experiences in the past, but especially because in some sense or another, they resent you. They resent you for trying to help them, trying to guide them, trying to tell them, this guy is bad for you, or so this is what's going to happen if you have sex outside of marriage, or sleep around, or get into alcohol and drugs and whatnot. It's like they will resent you for doing that, treating them like children. And in a sense, in many ways, a lot of them are like children. But just like in many ways, when you learn to ride a bicycle, you're gonna fall off a few times and scrape your knees. Unfortunately, with a lot of these cases, if they do go lose their virginity to some random guy they're not married to, etc., etc., it is going to immensely damage them and leave them jaded and with baggage and all that kind of stuff. But if their parents didn't do the job they were supposed to, or their parents tried their darndest and their girl didn't listen, well, it's kind of part of life. It's like if you have a herd of gazelle or water buffalo and they're being chased by lions or hyenas or what have you. It's part of life that a certain number of members of the herd are gonna fall behind and be picked off, and it sucks, but that's life, and unfortunately, a lot of these folks who do end up being picked off in this sense, they end up going on to being some of the biggest sources of disruption and destruction in the community. But like I said, it's part of the process, it's part of life, and I really hope I haven't screwed things up, with my girlfriend, because I've tried to explain to her, left these messages on Facebook, basically saying like I understand where she's coming from and I agree with her because I felt she was accusing me of things at first, but as it turns out, like she wasn't, in a sense. Like I was kind of like saying things in one way, but the reality is ultimately that like I said, gotta stop being this white knight, and I have to somehow like completely mute or obliterate the emotional reaction that I get when I see these girls, or this girl in particular. Because seeing her reminds me of the fact that I failed those classes. And maybe if I hadn't failed those classes, I would still be in that group. And if I was still in that group, then, X, Y, Z things might not have happened, And you know what? In all likelihood, that's not true. Those things probably would still have happened. And maybe I'd feel even worse. Because maybe I would have been there. Right there in the moment trying to say, hey, don't go this way, or maybe ended up, who knows, getting in some compromising situation where, some romantic stuff would have happened, and maybe I would have ended up broken up with the girlfriend and then trying to get with this other girl, and then perhaps things wouldn't have worked out because fundamentally, so many of these women, they want the bad boy. They want the a-hole, the jerk, the douchebag, and it's not a rational, logical thing. It's not something you can reason them out of. Um, they're just gonna go and do that, and then of course the really frustrating, annoying thing is when they come back later on and pretend like either A, it never happened, or B, it shouldn't matter. And if you do care about that kind of stuff and that does irk you, it does, make you lose interest in them. Um, now you're slut shaming, you're um, judging them, all that kind of stuff. But again, it's part of the process and it's part of life. Like I said, no likelihood things would still have happened. These girls, they don't understand why their father figures or their brothers or their uncles or whoever was standing in the way of them being like that, going down that path. Perhaps their parents didn't do a good enough job explaining. Maybe they tried. But there are those people who only learn by screwing up. They only learn the hard way. And if they have to face, a bazillion consequences as a result, then that's how it works for them. So, and you can't save them. You gotta save yourself. And the more I learn to focus on me, save myself first, and by extension those who depend on me, because like my girlfriend, like if she's to get married to me, I'm gonna have to graduate soon. I'm gonna have to get my act together, get my life together, and be able to provide and protect. And be the good husband. And if I'm busy being a white knight, screwing things up, that's putting her at risk. But the more I learn to do that kind of stuff, to put myself first, to keep my goals in mind, to not white knight, to not try to save some girl on the side while I'm studying something like chemical engineering. So many of the problems in my life that have caused me to become a PMO addict, I feel they will dissipate. But that's the hard decision right there. I was raised in so many ways with this mentality that if you're a real man, your place is to protect, to provide, to protect, to man the heck up, to go out there, fight the dragon like Saint George, or to drive the wolves away, or wrestle with the lion, whatever, so everyone else doesn't have to face them, doesn't get attacked, doesn't get hurt or killed. And the irony with these situations is if you go out there and you do the white knighting, you will, in all likelihood, get kicked to the curb, be resented, ironically enough, and be left, a shell of yourself, a shadow of yourself, broken and broke and messed up in the head, alone, all that kind of stuff. And, I've had these experiences in the past, and it's like I said earlier, like I don't know why I haven't learned this yet, because I would go and stand up for a girl who was being harassed by some guy, and 2 weeks later she's dating that same guy. They're going to the prom together or the homecoming together. They're having sex, for all I know. And it's like, it would hit me like, that guy was being a total jerk to you. Like, he was calling you all these names, And he was even, like, inappropriately touching you in public. And now you're dating him? Like, what? Now, obviously, there's something about female psychology there, and, the dominant, masculine, aggressive, dangerous men are more attractive and all that kind of stuff, but one of the greatest lessons I think in life is that oftentimes we have to suppress those urges to go in that direction because, maybe a million years ago, when you were a caveman or whatever, however many millions of years ago, going in that direction was, that would lead to survival. The dominant, overly masculine, aggressive man was the one who could fight off the saber-toothed cat, Um, and the whole being the protector, provider, fulfilling that, what they call a beta male role, was the way that kept the herd the not the herd the tribe alive. That the majority of the men did that kind of stuff, the tribe would survive. But nowadays we're living in a world where that's not necessarily true. There are no saber-toothed cats to fight off. There are no, I would say, there are no like hunter-gatherer tribes to protect. For us, for the majority of us, I'd say. Unless you go to the Amazon or so. But um, it's at a point where we need to detach ourselves from those kinds of roles because they're counterproductive. They place us at far too much risk as men, and if we're going to treat women as equal, like I said, we're going to have to be willing to let them face the consequences and um, protect and provide those who actually have your back, and that could be a woman. You have a girlfriend who loves you and has stood by you all these years and it hasn't expected you to go and quote unquote save her. Then you got to put her first before all these other women. Just so you put yourself first. So it's like yourself first and her by extension. And that's a real hard struggle, and like I said, I hope I haven't messed things up, permanently. I tried to make it clear that, I get where she's coming from with a lot of this stuff, and anywho, it's part of the Nofap struggle. Locating and figuring out what are the things that are causing blockages in your life, and self-defeating, self-limiting ways of thinking, to use Off the Train's way of putting it. Welcome back to YouTube. But getting rid of those ways of thinking, underlying issues, etc., and clearing the path to success. So, anywho, thanks for watching my content. Thanks for watching my video. This really is cathartic for me. I probably have more things to talk about, but I want to stop recording this and upload it and then charge up the camera. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for likes, the comments, the subscriptions. Hope this helps someone out there, as much as if not more than it helps myself. So, anyway, I'll see you folks around. Bye.